Welcome back. You're watching Clear to Respond with Barrie Fire and Emergency Service. I'm Jeff Homeyard, fire inspector, fire investigator, fire prevention officer, basically. And my co-host, as always, is Samantha Hoffman, public fire and life safety officer.
You just like saying that.
It's a mouthful. Our topic this week is dryers and appliance safety. We've talked about venting of furnaces and chimneys and wood stoves and things before, and we talked about dryers as well. And we have a guest today. His name is Jeremy McDougall from a company that specializes in the prevention of fires and the proper venting of appliances, specifically dryers.
Yep.
And your company is called Dryerfighters.
That's right.
And your headquarters is in Mississauga.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your discipline.
Okay, so we've been in the business since 1996. We pioneered the practice of servicing the dryer itself. You know, duct cleaners have been around for a long time, but to prevent dryer fires, we go to the source. The fire will start in the dryer, where the heating elements are. So that's why we service the dryer itself, and we also do the ducts, but we really can't stress enough the importance of servicing the dryer.
And just to give our viewers at home an idea, we do have a chart that just to give you an idea, in Barrie alone, if we look at the number of dryer fires that we've had, since 2009, we've had at least one a year, and 1 year we had 4. And when I look at the provincial stats across the province of Ontario, we have had, like last year in the province of Ontario, there was 123 dryer fires. So business is good.
Yes, yeah, it is good. We have a document too from the U.S. Fire Administration, and they mentioned it's in 2007, but they said that around 16,000 dryer fires occur, and about 80% of them are in residential buildings, multi-unit residences. So that's why we focus on the condos, because it can be a really dangerous situation in the condos.
So I think that's really important. One of the things that your company focuses on is multi-tenanted high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
And you do also do hospitals or schools or any other multi-tenanted buildings?
Industry, for example?
Industry?
Sure, yeah, we certainly could, yeah.
And so you focus on the actual dryers. So
Right.
give us a little bit of an example. Like, what is it that, how would you sell it to, because it's not the law, or is it the law?
No, it's not the law. It is recommended even by the fire marshal. We get documents, we get reminders from the fire department to do it and the importance of it. You know, a lot of people don't realize that if they just pull out their owner's manual, it will say in the owner's manual that they recommend that the dryers be cleaned by a professional. Some say every year, some say up to every 3 years, but no more than 3 years. And it's just a recommended service that they recommend. So, and the importance of it is, you know, lint is highly flammable. And if you ever look inside your toaster, at the heating element in your toaster, that same kind of element is in your dryer. Now, if your dryer gets full of lint and it's near that toaster, or near that heating element, yeah, just like here. So here's a toaster, and here's the heating element of a dryer. So often what we'll find is lint collecting inside this area where the heating element is. Now that can easily catch fire. And the problem is, let's say with this duct, you see here it's full of lint. If you start a fire in the dryer...
We're just going to hold it up to the camera here so that it can see it.
So if you start a fire in the dryer, what can happen is the fire will spread through the ducts, it can go through the different rooms in the place, and it really shows why it's so important to have this service done in multi-unit residences, because it can mean a huge fire if it starts just in one unit.
So what happens, like there's multi-united that are condos, there's privately owned units inside a condominium building, and then there are rental units. So does your company sell to the condo board or to the individual units? And is it helpful if only one person cleans it versus the entire building?
Okay, we do both. We will sell it to the board where the entire building gets the service done. Sometimes, depending on the board, depending on the building and the different rules that they have, sometimes we sell it to the individual owner. So obviously it's more beneficial if the entire building gets the service done. But as individuals, it's also important because let's say a dryer fire comes through the ducts and your ducts are clean and your dryer is clean. The fire stops where the lint stops. So you have less of a risk of the fire spreading into your personal unit. And also you have the peace of mind of knowing that it's not your dryer that started the fire in the first place.
I'm not fully aware of how the vent systems work in high rises. Let's say, for example, I'm on the 3rd floor and there's a fire in the dryer or in the ductwork. Can the smoke from that duct spread to every suite?
I guess it would depend on how the ducts are set up in the building. You probably won't get, if you're across the building, you probably won't get smoke there. But in the condo buildings, the reason why it's more dangerous in the multi-unit residences is because in your home, you might have a dryer and the duct is fairly short and it exhausts outside. In a condo unit or an apartment building, the ducts typically are a lot longer and they might have different bends in them. So when your dryer is blowing out the lint, it can't go as far and the lint can collect.
Are you saying it could be 4 or 5 stories until it's actually exhausted outside?
It could be, yeah, it definitely could. So oftentimes to rectify this, in the condos, they'll put a booster fan to help the dryer. Now what can happen with those booster fans is that they get clogged full of lint and then they're of no use too.
So I guess we just need, as a homeowner, if I'm a homeowner and I'm living in a multi-tenanted building, and if every time I do the laundry, if I take out my lint basket and I get rid of my lint and I clean out my basket, that's not enough.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of residences where I've been personally to clean their dryer, they say you don't need to open it. It's fine. I clean out my lint trap every time, and I will open up their dryer, take off the front panels, pull out the drum, and they will see right away that there's lint. And oftentimes they'll even find scorched lint, where the lint has already started to catch fire, and that was just a dryer fire waiting to happen. So it doesn't matter how careful we are. Every dryer leaks lint. And there's nothing you can really do about it.
So one of the things that we always tell people is that if they start to see lint building up on the seam, so outside of the basket, that's a warning sign. Like, would you agree that would be a good time to maybe have a professional come in and clean?
Definitely. That shows signs that it's getting clogged somewhere. The lint has nowhere to go.
Oh, there's some of the scorched lint that you were talking about.
Yeah, so here's a drum where we actually had to pull out the dryer drum. This is the back of it, so you would never see that. You would never be able to access it on your own. That's why we recommend a professional service. So we pulled out this drum, and here we find it full of lint, full of scorched lint. And the only way to get to it is by having a professional do it.
So we have lots that we want to talk about. We're going to come back, and we want to see what you do that the homeowner can't do, and we'll go back into that. You're watching Clear to Respond on Rogers TV. See you after the break.